The Supreme Court, in a majority ruling 6-3 in favor of the government, ruled that without these tax credits, the insurance markets could no longer be viable under the Affordable Care Act. So they basically rewrote the law by allowing tax credits to be distributed in both state and federal health insurance exchanges.
Here in North Carolina, our officials chose not to set up a state exchange.
Yes.
So people in North Carolina who are accessing these subsidies, taxpayer subsidies, they were doing this through the federal Obamacare exchange.
Yes.
So the court now has said that, yes, they can do that.
Yes, they have ruled that as valid. Right.
What does that mean then, if anything, for North Carolinians who are receiving these subsidies? Does everything just stay the same?
Yes, everything stays the same. The status quo really remains, and kind of like I mentioned earlier, that the Supreme Court really saved the Affordable Care Act from having to operate as written.
Now that's fascinating because the dissent by Justice Antonin Scalia brought out some very interesting points.
Yes.
Tell us about the dissent.
Sure. Justice Scalia, he wrote a pretty scathing dissent of the majority ruling, and he really emphasized that words no longer have meaning. I mean, Congress may not have intended to write a law where exchange markets and federal states could maybe not be viable if there were no subsidies. And so it may not be what they intended, but if it is what they wrote, if it is what is written in the statute, then it is ultimately Congress's authority to re-examine the statute and fix it however they wish. And in his dissent, he said you might as well call it SCOTUS care. The Supreme Court really saved the Affordable Care Act.
SCOTUS standing for Supreme Court of the United
Yes, that's
States
correct.
rather than Obamacare.
Right.